what's up you guys? Madison the Cat here, aka Dude, and have you ever taken a nap or, went to bed and had one of the weirdest dreams and you kind of just wake up thinking about it and just thinking how, like, is this a sign that I'm insane or not? Like, this was weird. I've had, like, many weird dreams. And so why not share them with you guys? I've had some really weird dreams. I even had a dream where I witnessed my own death, basically. So we'll get into that. So I've had a lot of weird dreams, and I don't understand them. I don't think anyone understands their dreams. Like, dreams are supposed to have like a metaphor, but dreams, they're just kind of weird. So one dream I had, I was babysitting my younger sisters, and I was also babysitting their friend. And for some reason my cousin was there. She's around the same age as me. And she was there. We both were babysitting my sisters and their friend. And it just seemed normal at first, but then like my cousins just kind of left and just never came back. And at some point there was a knock at our door, and I was like, okay. So I went to go answer the door, and on our front porch were like, I don't know how to describe it. It's like it was these people who were like tribal cult people, and they looked like they were dressed up as like a cult or a tribe. And I guess their like cult was based off of vegetables, because like they had masks in the shape of vegetables, and it was really weird. And like they tried to get in the house, and I kind of like had to close the door and not let them in, and it was like really weird. Eventually they forced me and my sisters to come outside, and so we just stood on our porch, just kind of scared and freaked out. And this group of like cult people were just like doing some type of sacrifice thing right on like my front lawn. And it was weird. Eventually, like, not my parents didn't come home, but for some reason my aunt and uncle arrived, because my cousin was with me, but she just kind of left and disappeared. And, I guess they wanted to, like, check up on my cousin or something, and I was like, hey, could you, like, I don't know, call someone, because, like, there's a cult group doing a thing on, like, doing some type of sacrifice thing on our front lawn. So they eventually called, like, 911 or something, or, like, they essentially called a SWAT team, like a whole big group of, like, SWAT team members showed up to like get rid of them. And it was so weird. And like other things happened, like this big huge like statue thing kind of like toppled over into my backyard, like it fell over in my backyard. And yeah, that was essentially what happened in that dream. I don't know how to describe it. It was so just strange. Have you ever had like a dream where you go to bed and you have this dream, and then you wake up and either you go back to sleep or you go to sleep the next day, and like that dream just kind of continues on? I actually had a dream like that once. So at first this was a dream, and I was with my boyfriend, and we were like in one of those, we were like in like a building or like a house, and you know those what are they called? It's like those games or those like lockdown things where you're locked in a room and you only have a few hours to, find the key, and so you have to do all these like puzzle things. And so you're like, it's like those rooms where you're trapped and you have to do a bunch of puzzles in order to escape. We were like doing one of those things, and so we were going around and doing that, and then we stumbled upon one room. Now, the door was already opened, and it was like dark, like dimly lit. And when we went in there, it was kind of like a bedroom because there was a bed and there was a projector and showing off like on the wall footage. Like it was one of those really old projectors, like film projectors, and it was showing like this film almost, like an old like vintage film. I don't remember if there was like music or not. I forgot if it was like silent or there was like some old music playing. But it showed like a bunch of footage of like cars and, you know, people, and it was like really weird. And the room was just kind of giving us the creeps. And I smelled something in the room. Like it was like a rotting stench. And I was like, oh god, the smell. And so there was this bed, there was nothing on the bed, and when we went over to the other side, like of the bed, on the floor, on the other side, there was just a big giant red stain, and it looks like blood or something. Like it looks like there was a body there, and there wasn't like any like, it didn't look like the body was dragged. There was just a big huge like puddle of blood or something. It was really weird. I remember distinctly I was with my boyfriend, because before that creepiness happened, we were just kind of chilling on a couch, cuddling. That was probably the nicest part about that dream, and then just weirdness happened. But I woke up, and it was really weird. It was like super early in the morning, so I was like, fuck it, I'm gonna go back and get a few extra hours of sleep. So I would go to bed, I went back to sleep, and I essentially had the same dream. But this time, I was with my family, and we were at like this family reunion thing on my mom's side, and like there were a bunch of family members, because like my mom's side is like really big, and so we were like in this house, and I went in this room, and it was like the exact same room, except I think the projector was gone. Like there was no projector, and again, like the stench was there, and when I went to the other side of the bed, instead of a big giant stain, there was actually a body there. So this body, it was of a woman, and she was actually wearing a wedding gown. And I was like, oh my god, there's a dead body. And so I go back out to like the living room or something, and I tell everyone, hey, there's a body on the room. And the way they reacted was just so weird. Like they responded with, oh, that's so-and-so. Yeah, they were supposed to get married next week. That was the response. Like, no one was shocked. They were just like, oh, that's so-and-so. They were supposed to get married next week. Oh well. They're dead, so. They reacted so normally. It was really weird. And that was basically what happened. And it was really weird. Like, all these dreams are weird and just strange. I also had, like, another dream. I don't know how to describe it. Like, the background, like, where they were, like, the setting. It reminds me of something, but I can't remember what it was. But there was, like, this tree. And it was kind of like Alice in Wonderland for some reason. So you would climb up this tree, and then when you climb down, you're in this, like, you're in an alternate universe almost. Like, when you climb up this tree, you, like, I guess it's secretly a portal to an alternate universe. So you climb down it, and, you know, you're in this alternate universe, and like, this dream is very vivid. Like, I don't really remember much of this dream. The main characters reminded me of the Powerpuff Girls, but it was like kind of like older teens because of the colors of their dresses, like green, pink, and blue, kind of remind me of Powerpuff Girls. And like they were in this alternate universe, and there was this like tall guy with like a suit, and he was like, I don't know, kind of like a Mad Hatter almost. But like they wanted to leave. And I guess he didn't want them to leave, and so they had to run to the tree to climb back up there, to climb down to go back to their world, and they were like, and all these like different like creatures or something were chasing them with chainsaws for some reason. And so, I don't know, it was like a weird version of Alice in Wonderland almost. I don't remember much of that dream except like that specific trait about like the tree, because the tree, I don't know, kind of reminds me of the rabbit hole from Alice in Wonderland. I don't know, I don't know how to explain that dream. There was another dream that I had where this one, like, I kind of witnessed my own death, basically. I don't know how to describe it. So I was at this house, like this big house. I was like exploring and just looking at stuff. And there was like a really weird maze too. And like at some point, like, I don't know how to describe it. Like, all I remember is that there was this like kind of like river, and I was on this raft. And it's like, I thought it was like a river and you were just going down it with a raft. But the more I went down the river, there was actually, like, you remember those really old like water mills? Like, there was like that. And so up ahead was a water mill, and I'm like, oh, I should probably get out. But I didn't know how to get out, and it was like really shaky on the raft. And the closer I got to like the water mill, it was actually, the water was essentially going down, and down there was like gears, was like mechanical stuff. I don't know how to, like, it was kind of like a grinder almost, like it had like claws, like going like this or something. I don't know how to describe it, but it was like gears and stuff. And I was getting closer, and I fell in. And when I fell in, like, all I remember is that I felt like the gears like crunching into my skull. Like I actually felt the pain for a split second, and then just darkness. Almost like it felt like I died. But then I immediately came back, and I was like in this like whole different, like, I think I was back in the house, but like I like essentially died, but then I immediately came back. And when I woke up, I was just like, whoa. Like, it felt so real. Oh, it was so weird. I think that was like the weirdest dream I had, because it felt like I actually did die. Like, I felt like I witnessed my death. I actually got scared because I thought I was actually dead. Trying to think of other dreams that I had. Oh, so I can't really think of any more weird dreams except for this one. This one actually happened last night. So this dream, it was weird. So that's what I'm saying for all the dreams. Like, all the dreams are weird. Like, it's so hard to explain what they are. But this dream, it was like super late at night, and everyone was going to bed at my house. And I decided to go downstairs with my laptop. For some reason, I brought one of my lamps from my room, and I brought it downstairs for some reason. And, you know, I plugged in my lamp, I plugged in my laptop, and I was on the floor. I was just sitting on the floor. And I was on YouTube, and I was searching up these clips from this movie. So this movie, it looks like a Japanese animation movie, because the name of it like was Japanese sounding. So, but it was all in English. Like, the characters spoke in English, but the name of it like sounded Japanese. And so this movie, like, it was like filmed like in claymation. Like, it was kind of like an animation, but it was like claymation, like a stop motion, like claymation type movie. And it was like a horror movie comedy almost, because like it's supposed to be like funny. Like, 'cause there are some horror movie comedies, and that's what it was like labeled as, a horror movie comedy, because there were some parts that were like really funny. And I was basically on YouTube searching up clips of like the death scenes of like these different characters in the movie. I know that I used to do that a lot. Like I'm a big fan of like the movie Saw, and when I was like a kid, I was into Saw when I was younger. Yes, I searched up these, you know, the clips, these clips of scenes, like death scenes of these different characters, and it had like different traps. And I remember, like as a kid, I watched these claymation videos based off like Saw scenes from like the movie Saw. I don't know why, I was really interested in those. So it kind of reminds me of like that. But this was like, wasn't Saw, it was like this different movie. I don't even think this movie exists. Like some of the scenes are like really weird. And I think like their death scenes were based off like their personalities or something. Like there was this one scene with like there was like these main characters of like a family or something, and the daughter had like, how do I describe it? Like she had like, how do I describe it? Like one of her eyes was kind of like demonic or red, so it was kind of like a creepy thing, and she also carried a creepy doll, so she's kind of like creepy looking, and like she was one of the main characters. And there was like this one scene of like this family, and it was of like they were packing up their car because like there was like a big storm coming, or like they just had to leave, and there was like this monster or something, and like the mother and father, and they had a son. It was like a, how do I describe him? He was like, how do I describe him? He was like big, and he wore overalls, and he was kind of like one of those like dumb characters and stuff. He was like really big, and like they were all getting packed up, and like I guess there was like this monster that was like following them. So they were getting in the car, and they had an idea to do something, but I don't remember what it was. So like the monster came, and the wife is just like, no, we gotta leave. But this monster, it was kind of like their son, but he was even bigger, and he was even more like distorted. And I guess like this monster, like I guess it was like a creature or monster, I don't know. Like it got onto the other side of the car and got in and just sat down. And the son was like jealous or something for some reason. He was getting mad, and he got in the car, and he was like, no, this is my family, or something like that. Like he was jealous, and I guess like that's like what the death scene was about, jealousy or something. But this creature, he started getting angry, because so he just turned to like the son and just twisted his head, and just it popped off, and he cracked his neck, and so now his body's just sitting there in the back of the car with blood splurting out because his head's gone, and the wife is screaming and freaking out. And I guess like the creature like thinks that the wife and husband is like his parents or something, and you know, he's just sitting there like nothing happened, and the wife is just like, just drive, and they're trying to get away from him even though he's in the car with them. So they're driving, and they end up on this highway, and it's like super stormy and rainy and even like tornado-ish, and so it's like really, really like bad weather, and a tornado comes by, and the car sweeps up in the tornado, and they basically essentially die. Like that was one of the movie clips that I watched, like one of the death scenes, I guess. There was like another one with like an old lady. Like she wasn't really old, but she was like one of those stereotypical, you know, those big ladies with like hair curlers in their hair, and like she was like, I don't remember how she died. I think like her face got ripped off or something. But there were like, I watched so many of like these different scenes from like this movie I was interested in, I guess. And apparently I owned a board game based off of the movie, and apparently this board game, like, it was a really weird board game. Like, it made no sense. Like, it was a card game plus a chess game and all this different stuff. And it even had, like, the main characters on the box, including that little girl. And I guess, like, this was an actual game, like, in the movie. Like, the little girl, I guess, invented her own little game, and that's what the game was. Like, a mix of, like, a card game and a chess game. So I guess they made, like, an actual version of it or something. But, like, the cards had, like, the characters or death scenes or something. I don't know. It was weird. And, you know, when I woke up, I just had to just think for a moment. Like, have you ever, like, when you have a weird dream, you just kind of sit there in bed thinking, like, okay, what just happened? Like, you're just rewinding and just thinking back to the actual dream you had. So, I wasn't really scared. It just kind of spooked me. I had, like, weird vibes, like, after that dream. But, yeah, that was some of the weirdest dreams I've ever had. I think one of the weirdest dreams that I had was the one where I died. I think that one tops them all. I don't know. What do you think? Have you had weird dreams? Have you, had a dream where you died or something? Like, I'd love to know. Comment down below some of your weirdest dreams, or which dreams of mine you thought were the weirdest. But yeah, that was basically it. I thought I'd share that because, sharing your weirdest dreams is, I don't know, interesting, I suppose. But yeah, that is gonna do it for this video. I hope you guys enjoyed it, and I will be seeing you lovely freaks later. Bye. Love you.